Greetings, freaks and folks, and welcome back to the spoiler season. We have a new champion today, and for some reason, people already knew what the champion is. Because of yesterday's reveals, people are very intrigued with this game, and they always know ahead what comes, so I was spoiled what's to come today. So it's Udyr, and we will direct that in a second, but let me give a really quick shout out to the Ezrys from yesterday. It was the very first Runeterra Award show, and you can check this in the link down below from Jasonsationals, who was setting this up. I was one of the nominees, and I may or may not be one amongst the winners. English. Let's start and check what Udyr does. Let's go.
Gather, spirits, gather.
I love this music and scheme, shaman scheme already. Alright, we have a 5-mana 4/4. It's Udyr, and he says, when I'm summoned or strike, create a stand swap in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost to 0. So a stance swap would probably be this, I think he has 3 or 4 stances in Legends of Runeterra, in League of Legends, brain. And there he swaps between like being quicker in attack and having more crit chance or something. So I guess we will have some sort of like keyword swap. And level up says you have damaged the enemy next 7+ times this game. That's a whole lot. 7 times? I mean, this is even 2 more than Sejuani and Gangplank have. I mean, after 7 times, the enemy is almost dead, right? Alright, let's see. That's a very hard level up.
Hear my call.
Love the voice.
We will show them where their spells can help.
Vulpine Wanderer. Okay, that's value generating there. Let me see that for a second. When I'm summoned, create a stand swap in hand. Okay, so that's
Where their
pure
spells can help.
Udyr
For me,
support.
the spirits
We have seen that. Deal 1 to all nexuses.
Follow the old ways.
There is stand swap. Grant a stance to an ally. So we don't know what a stance is yet. Let's find out. Or what a stance does, rather. Alright, here we go. We have the beer stance. Grant an ally +2/+do. It's slow speed, by the way, all of these. Wild Claw stance is a grant an ally +2 attack and overwhelm. This will probably be the most used, I guess. And we have grant an ally +2 health and regeneration, or deal 1 to everything else. That's a whole lot, and that's very flexible. We have seen that with Aphelios and with Twisted Fate. They have so much things that you can do with them, and because they are so versatile, they are so good. And that's why it's really hard to regulate them and to not make them too strong in the game. So yeah, we have to be careful with that, for sure. There we go. Oh, the animation though.
You could
That's
have
awesome.
fought by my
Yeah, I mean, with
side.
Sejuani's obvious
Breaker, you
team up
should
here.
have fought
Udyr,
beside
Sejuani.
Sejuani's.
Alright. What is F tough though? Oh, the
Iron Boar.
landmark.
Old god.
Okay, and here we have Udyr's Spirits Unleashed. 5 mana slow speed, not main deckable. It says grant your allies +1/+1, then deal 1 to everything. Create Udyr. Okay, so I guess that's Udyr's signature card, and then you could probably main deck that as well. Granting +1/+1 for 5 mana isn't too good, and deal 1 to everything. I mean, this is towards his level up, right? And Sejuani Gangplank's level up, or something like that. And we enable Plunder with that, amongst other things. So I think it's a Udyr card mainly, right? And here we go. Those animations, dude. That's so fire. Here comes the level up.
The spirits gather.
Alright. This bashes everything. Like, I was thinking of Galio, like 2 days from now, and I was like, this animation looks okay. Like, first reaction was like, okay, and then was like, watched the second time, was like, that's really bad. But I mean, look at this.
The spirits gather.
That's the shit, man. This is what we want. Alright, we have a 5-mana 5/5 now, and it says when I'm summoned or strike, create a stand swap in hand, or if you have one, reduce its cost to 0. So I think that's the same. Let me check here for a second. Yeah, when I'm summoned or strike, create a stand swap in hand. So that stays the same, but it says on I have +1/+1 for each stance you have cast this game. Alright, so that's a really thick dude. And up to that point, he probably has Overwhelm.
For
some reason, this doesn't have it yet.
For Sejuani, for the Winter's Claw!
Stand
That's it.
and fight.
That's
This
it.
is our path.
What was that?
Miss Claw!
Creating 2 stances in hand? Yeah, that's just pure Overwhelm. Crazy Overwhelm stuff. Yeah. Rickerick's gonna love
have
it.
spoken.
They have spoken. Alright, let's check all of these. We have the Shaman's Call. It's a 6 mana burst speed spell, so the first thing that comes to mind is Lux right away, and Jace as well. 6 mana burst speed spells are great for that. And it says create 2 fleeting 0-cost stand swaps in hand. That's not too bad. We have seen that you can give Overwhelm stats, deal 1 to everything, and regeneration. So these 4 things are pretty good, and you have definitely some use for that in almost every deck. So Shaman's Call could be a card that's not even only for Udyr, how do you call him? But yeah, I think you want to run this with Udyr mainly because yeah, his level up and this +1/+1 for each stance that you have cast this game, right? We have Udyr's Spirits Unleashed, so yet again, it has no rarity gem, but my best guess is that it's its signature card and he normally has a rarity gem to it. And then you grant your allies +1/+1 deal 1 to everything. Yeah, like I said, Udyr loves that, and above that, I mean, the fact that you deal 1 to everything afterwards means that you don't really get this +1 health normally if you don't have the Scargrounds on the board, or if you don't have Tough, which means you normally just grant your allies +1 attack. So I think outside of Udyr, maybe it's not too good. We have the Wolpine Wanderer, like I said, 2 mana 2/2, solid stat line, and it says when I'm summoned, create a stand swap in hand, a Udyr support card, but other than that, don't know if you really want this in other decks. 3 mana slow speed spells don't really have synergies with a lot of things that I can think of. We have Tribeam and Probulator, which helps 3 mana spells and cards, but I don't really think you want to have stand swaps in Tribeam decks. Then we have the Bone Scryer, which was a reveal from yesterday, and it says when I survive damage, deal 1 to the enemy nexus. Really good card for a 2-drop, so to say. So it's a 0/5, doesn't have any attack, but with Skyrounds, this is just dope. You have even the option to, I posted this yesterday on Twitter, by the way, the 3 mana card that will grant Tough and +1 HP is just great on the Bone Scryer, because the enemy doesn't want to attack from that point onwards. Like, you have a 0/6 with Tough on the board that every time this gets hit and survives the damage will just ping the enemy nexus on and progress Udyr's level up or Sejuani or Gangplank that you will probably mix up with the Udyr. Then we have the Task Speaker, which is the 2 mana 3/2 Overwhelm, just a super dope card. Like, this stat line alone with Overwhelm is just golden, and on play effect you deal 1 to all nexuses. So yet again, Plunder Enabler for 2 mana, which is just great. Oh, I'm hitting my mic here. And above that you can also have that in aggro decks. Aggro just doesn't care too much about its own Nexus health because you just want to run down the enemy from that point onwards. So this is just absolutely dope. Like, I don't know if there would be a Freljord aggro archetype in the future, but if there is, the Task Speaker is definitely in there. Then we have the Wrath of the Freljord, a 8 mana boar. I already love it. A 8/8 with Overwhelm, so Captain Farron. But he doesn't have the 2 decimates, but instead he will say enemies with 3 or less power can't block. What? Ooh! That's absolutely disgusting. With all these decks that spread out wide, like Banel City for example, they have so many weak units on the board where they spread out. Banel Tree was in the meta for quite some time. They will just hate the Wrath of Freljord. But yet again, 8 mana is a heavy investment. You can just mini-morph it for 6 mana, and then it's not really a threat afterwards. But other than that, this is just absolutely sick. I mean, this is just give Fearsome to all your units, but better, right? Fearsome only gets you to 2 and below, but here it's 3 attack or below, which is a huge amount of more units that have 3 attack. Yeah, definitely very scary and probably a finisher for these, then maybe aggro archetypes for Freljord. We'll see about that in the future. And lastly, on here we have the Hyra Allseer. It's a 6 mana 5/5. It says when I'm summoned, create a stand swap in hand. It costs 0 this round. So yet again, a probably pure Udyr help. The fact that you can grant regeneration for that low amount of cost is pretty good. We have seen this with, I think, Troll Games? I don't know, the Troll card that grants regeneration for 2 mana. If it already has regeneration, you grant +2/+2. You would probably run this in this deck as well, because you can then burst speed +2/+2 grant on these regeneration units when you grant regeneration beforehand with a stance swap. Yeah, I don't really know about this one. Like, you have a 5/5, okay, but on turn 6, you want to have more impact than just that. That said, you could still give this the beer stance, I think it was, where you give +2 attack and overwhelm. That would be a 7/5 with overwhelm for you then 0 mana, right? You have this stance swap for 0 mana. But above that, I don't really know if this is a card that you would run in every deck, or this is a card that you would run outside of Udyr, so to say. Okay, now we calm down a bit and we check mobilities if there's more. Alright, so no new cards here. From yesterday we still have the Merkwolf Shaman and the Mammoth Shaman, which will upon round end transform to a then bigger unit, and the Merkwolf will get to transform into a 5/5 regen, and it has then, when I transform, draw a unit, which is pretty dope for 4 mana. And then we have the Mammoth Shaman, which will just get to in 6/6 and upon round start, so definitely directly on the next round will be a 8/8, and from that onwards will grow +2/+2 each round start for 6 mana. It's also really disgusting, the Mammoth Rager here. And you can enable them pretty easily with the Ram stance, where you deal 1 to everything, and also other pings. The fact I just saw that I realized that Udyr has the 5 mana cost, and this collides a bit with the Gangplank, which is already 5 mana, so I don't really know if you would run these two together, but with Sejuani this is already pretty dope. And I think you could even pair this up not with the normal Plunder, even though it would be really good to do that, or the Nap cards and Plunder, but you could also run it with maybe PNZ. They have a lot of pings and direct damage to units or the Nexus, and then you can also enable all these effects, right, from the Shamans and also the level up from Sejuani and the Udyr. So you're even free to pair up with other things outside from Bilgewater, which is a funny thing to do, I think, to break up this Plunder archetype a little and not always just have Freljord and Bilgewater in the mix. So yeah, overall I just love Udyr from his style-wise. I mean, this Spirit and Viking flair, his level up is just so manly, you know. It speaks something tribal. It speaks to something tribal deep within me, I guess. So I will leave it at that. Thanks for checking this episode from Reaction Me. Let me know what you think of Udyr and his package, what you would maybe pair this up with. Maybe I have missed something here. These were my first impressions, right? And if you want to have more reactions, you can always subscribe up here. I will also react to the other champions that are yet to come. And here on this side, you can also check other reactions from me. So that's it for today. And until the next champion release, you stay legendary. Vlad out.